show is celebrating the 20th anniversary of Janet Jackson's phenomenal album, The Velvet Rope, by speaking to the people who were involved with the album and the world tour. And we're so over the moon to welcome dancer, choreographer, teacher, and actress Kelly Konno back to the show, who danced with Janet, if I've done my research and memories correctly, 3 different times. Kelly, thanks so much for hanging out with us.
You are right. Thank you, Kelly. I love that I'm even a part of it.
Well, I'm so happy to have you back on the show. It's always such a joy for me. And I guess I wanted to ask you, like, right off the top, you know, you had danced with Janet during the Janet World Tour from 93 to 95. And then what jobs did you actually sort of do between them and the Velvet Rope Project and tour? Because did you have a sense that you were going to go and dance with Janet again, or did you not know?
From what I remember, I don't think I knew that I was going to go back. I think we were all hoping and dreaming and going, please, 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 please let this never end. But, you know, I mean, I think Tina was still very close with Janet, and I was very close with Tina, and same with Nikki, and we all kept quite tight in between the 2 tours. So when we did get asked back for Velvet Rope, it wasn't a huge surprise, but it was definitely a relief. Like, we weren't expecting to be asked back.
Can you talk to us
about...
But
we stayed pretty tight. Sorry, we stayed pretty tight with Tina through that mix. Like, we were other jobs for Deborah Cox, and, you know, but that Tina was choreographing. So we were still her girls, and we knew Janet was on a break. And then as soon as she was ready to come back, like, you know, we were very relieved that we were asked back.
Can you talk to us about how that conversation went? Like, did Tina call you up? Did she ask you over for dinner? Like, how did you know you were going to be brought back?
Wow, that's a really good question, Kelly, because I honestly don't even remember. How did that happen? I don't know. I think it definitely would have been Tina. I think Tina would have been the one that called us and said, okay, we're going back out. I don't really remember it being Janet herself. It definitely would have been Tina. But I don't actually have a very good memory of exactly how that went down.
Okay, that's fine. That's all good.
I have a bad memory, actually, Kelly. I think I used up, I swear to God, I think I used up all my memory in my professional dance career days, because now my memory is really bad.
All right, well, I'll poke and prod you along, and then we'll see what we come up with. So I did.
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Now I did want to ask, like, apart from a few changes between the Janet and the Velvet Rope tour with regards to the female dancers, like obviously Tish was not a part of Velvet Rope, but did you? I always wanted to ask this, I think, because so many of us who were fans, you know, back then and continue to be that way, we knew that there was something special between, you know, you and Nikki and Tina and Shawnette. And obviously Tish when the Janet tour was going on. But did you, like, especially when you came back to the Velvet Rope, did you guys realize that you were kind of iconic in Janet fan land itself? Because, like, we all know you guys. Like, we all knew it was like, there's the girls, there's the 4, like, we love you so much. Like, did you guys feel like you were part of something special?
I feel like we, you know, because the Janet tour was so huge and it was just so big, and we were so close with her, and she gave us such like a platform of becoming more well known as her dancers in that tour, that when we were asked back to do the Velvet Rope, it was like even more so. We became even tighter as a group, and because there was only 4 of us girls, and we really did dance really well together and clicked, and personally, we were all friends, and we were, you know, I honestly don't even know why Tish wasn't a part of it, because I think Tish would have been awesome, you know, as a fifth dancer, and Cynthia as well. Like, we didn't, I don't quite know. I think I was just young and didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff. But when it was just the 4 of us that were asked back, I was honestly probably just relieved that I was one of the ones that got asked back, and I didn't question. I know there was a reason, I don't know why, but we were the ones that were asked back, and for that Velvet Rope stretch, you know, we became even tighter and better dancers together, and yeah, I think we realized it to a sense that people knew that we were her girls, and you know, that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, I don't really know if at the time I thought I don't even say that I would be famous, but I knew that I was known because I was with her.
Okay. That's good. That's fair. That's awesome. And it's true because I think so many of us have special feelings towards you guys, like the ladies. Like we love you. We still love you. And you made such a big difference. I think you're so great in the I Get Lonely video, just for example, like not to mention everything else, but you just really...
I know. I loved that video so much. Yeah, I really do miss that time. I wish that the four of us could come back together and be with her. Like even if it was just like in a music video or something, just chilling. Like, what would happen if that was to happen? Because there really was a sense of magic there on the Velvet Rope that we kind of, and then we had the added guys. Like then, when we added guys to the more guys, because I know Omar and Sean were on the first one, but we balanced it out with the four guys on the Velvet Rope, and it was kind of fun for us to have, some more male energy around. So yeah, I don't know. One of these days, maybe we'll all come back together.
That would be good. We'll put it out in the universe. Speaking of the guys, by the way,
I
wanted to ask you with regards to, let's say, like Gil and Tyson and Mike and Rob, did you know all of them when you sort of walked into Velvet Rope rehearsal? Had you met every single one before, or just from around the way kind of thing?
Rob and I had known each other. Because I did one of my first jobs with Rob in Vancouver. So Rob and I had history. It was awesome. I loved that he was a part of it. Tice and I were very close then. We still are to this day, but he was one of the first dancers I met in LA. And we were friends even on the tour, I was close with Tice. And then Gil, I had no idea who he was. I just knew that he was at the audition for Velvet Rope. I remember we all watched him. He was awesome, brilliant dancer. And so we were excited to get to hire him. And then Michael, I did not know. Or did I know Michael? I think we did the Deborah Cox video together. Yeah, I knew him as a dancer. I knew him from the Deborah Cox video, but I didn't know him very well, so I was happy to hear when he booked it. But yeah, so I guess I did actually know all of them except for Gil.
And can you talk to us a little bit? I'm not sure if we can poke and prod your memory back to rehearsal day one, kind of. But like, how did it feel going into rehearsals, for the Velvet Rope? And had you heard the entire album as you were heading into rehearsal? Had you already heard it?
I'm trying to remember what was. All For You is the one that I was on the beginning of that album. So the Velvet Rope, I remember. Oh no, I remember. Okay, yeah, I remember. It was because it was still big. It was still like huge publicity. She's going back on the road. I remember being invited to the tour launch or the video. Maybe her first video launch, and we all had to wear suits, and it was as exciting as the Janet tour. Like there was that much buzz still. I remember going into the first day of rehearsal like we're about to do this again. You know what I mean? It wasn't scary. It felt natural. It felt like home. Tina, was leading us all like she does so well, and I was just happy to get back to work and get back to a new project. Like I think we were all very excited. I don't remember the very first day of rehearsal. Like I just remember the whole era and that time and just being excited to have a new look. And she wants us to dye her hair, and we all got a piercing, and it was just like, okay, here we go. We're about to go on a roller coaster ride again.
Can you speak to us a little bit about Janet's frame of mind kicking off the Velvet Rope project? Because from a fan's perspective, obviously, like the Janet album was very much about love and light and sort of her coming into her sexuality. And then with the Velvet Rope, obviously, was a much more serious tone on many different levels, not only talking about the AIDS situation, HIV, but then just her own struggles that she had gone through mentally. Did you feel that the Velvet Rope rehearsals took on a more serious tone, even though I'm sure you guys were having fun, but what was her mind frame going in? Did you notice a marked change in Janet?
Yeah, I felt like, I definitely I was still quite young then, right? So and I was pretty naive to a lot of things that were going on around me, I guess. I knew that there was obviously different messages that she was trying to relate, or express. And I knew that we had a job to be there for her and help express that message that she wanted to get across. Like, I know she was very serious in that sense. I also felt it was a lot more sexual. I felt like she was, exploring more into that world. Like, I was like, oh my God, can I do that? Like, because I was still young, and I don't even think I was fully, had fully come into my own sexuality. So I think I was a little confused and young and naive at that time. That's what I remember. I remember just going, okay, well, I'll do whatever I can. I will, I'll do whatever I'm asked to do, as long as it was okay with me. But for the most part, she never like sat us down and was like, this is what I want us to talk about. This is how I want you to feel about, it was kind of organic, and she let us just kind of figure it out on our own, and explored ourselves and the way we presented ourselves. She, even though she would suggest for us to wear certain things or do our hair like this now or try a piercing, it wasn't like she forced any of that on us. It was always very much in a loving way that she was like, well, if you want, you might look really cute with this, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll pierce my lip, So she was, she was like a big sister in that sense. But I kind of, from what I remember, I just remember still being quite young and naive myself, and just being happy to be there and being a soldier and just doing whatever I was told.
That's awesome. I'm down with that. Joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show is dancer, choreographer, teacher, and actress Kelly Konno. Make sure to follow her. I'm going to say this, triplethreatdance.com. Is that good? Is that where you want the people to follow you, Kel?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, sure, there, or kellykonno.com as well.
Okay, great.
You can check
Perfect.
out some of my acting on there.
So I wanted to ask you, too, with regards to the Velvet Rope album, what was your favorite song back in the day, and is it still the case today?
From the Velvet Rope album?
Yeah.
I loved You. I don't know why I loved that one so much. Which other one did I love? This Time.
Yeah.
This Time that Tita did the whole, 'cause I just felt like it was really powerful, and I loved rocking out to it. I loved the choreography to it. Every night that we would do it on stage, it would give me energy. So I loved those two. I also loved Velvet Rope. I really did. I mean, it wasn't my first go-to song, but the more and more we did it on the road and opened the show with that, I was like, okay, I get it. I got it more as we did it, So I'll still put on that album every once in a while, and I go, oh my God, I love it so much, and it's so good, and I just miss it so much. So I probably will actually put it on today and rock out to it while I'm doing laundry or something.
Very good. And I wanted to ask you too, because at the end of, or coming up to the end of the concert, I know when you guys did That's the Way Love Goes and Got Till It's Gone, it's funny, I've told this to Tina before, like I got tears in my eyes because you guys were just so amazing, and I know the sort of concert at that point, but you were almost near the end, and you guys just look like such a unit and such a team. Does that section of the choreography still stick out to you as well? Like, just because it seemed like you guys got to relax a little bit because you were near the end of the show, and
my God, first of all, I love That's the Way Love Goes. I actually danced to it today. I was teaching today, and because Janet's coming into town for her concert, I'm like, I got to give her some love. So I've been teaching That's the Way Love Goes in class today, and I was like, this is timeless. This choreography is timeless. I loved it. It felt good. It was fun. It was sexy, and Got Till It's Gone was just so cool. I still use a lot of the steps from that even in my own choreography, because it's fun and it feels good on the body, and maybe because it felt so good and it felt so natural on our bodies, maybe that's why you guys as viewers and audience members were so drawn to it, because you could tell that we really truly loved to do it, and it felt good, and it yeah, that's so funny that I danced to that today, and we're talking about it today. Because I put it on, and all my students were like, "Oh," and I was like, I want to teach you guys the original choreo, and it literally, I didn't even have to review it. It's just in my body, like it came back so easy. Whereas some of the past choreography that I'd actually have to really go back and try to relearn it. Mm-hmm. Whereas that one, not so much. That Together Again comes back really quick. If I don't know, maybe because I did it so much, but I think there's certain choreography that just stick with you because it was just perfectly done and felt so good, and that's what you guys felt as fans watching it. So plus the music was the bomb.
Right. Yep. To this day, timeless. Can you talk to us a little bit about the section of the show when you would come out and do Throb? Now, I know that you guys freestyled on the Janet tour, which was awesome. But again, I think for maybe some of us for the Velvet Rope, maybe in my case, because I was a little bit older at the time, like I really appreciated that section so much. And just because Janet got to rock out, but you guys all got to rock out and we got to see you sort of doing it on your own. How much fun was that? And did you sense like the audience was, again, just completely with you guys when you got to come out in the Adidas gear and have a good time?
Yeah, what's funny is that part, Throb, because I wasn't a huge freestyler, but, Rob was, Jeanette was, Nikki and I not so much. Like we weren't like, we would never get in the circle at a club to freestyle. Like it just wasn't in me. I don't know how to do it. I'd be scared. So I think I was a little intimidated by Throb, in the sense of, Michael and Rob could freestyle it and switch it up every night. Like I would do the same thing every night because I knew it worked. I didn't have to think. And I loved doing it. Once it was set, I loved doing it. And I guess that's part of me being a, more technical dancer, that I need structure. I need to do the same thing every night. I need to, I wish I could have been a little bit more free to just let the music tell me what to do. And hence, that's probably why, that Tina, Nikki, and I did our freestyle together because it was set. Whereas like Rob and them, they got to go to town and just do whatever they wanted. So that was really inspiring for me to watch every night and kind of push myself as a dancer to go, maybe there's more out there for me to learn and attempt to do at some point, maybe just not in front of 20,000 people, but or however many people were in the audience that night. But I really did like it. I didn't quite realize that fans really loved that one. People would always say, "Oh my God, Throb was so cool," and I'm like, "Really? Really? That was one of your favorites?" Like I would always question that, but now I can see why. I can understand it because it was more free. It was more, club-like and almost like watching us inside a rehearsal or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you have to take us back to, speaking of when we were talking about you and the ladies, when you guys did I Get Lonely and had that fun up there. What did that feel like, Kelly? Because it just seemed like you guys really, again, as her girls, got to have a great time with her, and then picking the guy to bring him up on stage.
Oh my God, that was so fun. Because I never got to be. I mean, that was a little nerve-wracking for me because I was, still coming into my own. Like I wasn't overly sexual. I wasn't like, I didn't know what they were all talking about. Like they would all I had my boyfriend. I was dating Taj Jackson at the time, and it was a little uncomfortable for me to like open my shirt and just have a bra on. Like, oh my God, I was like freaking out at first, but I did love the choreography. I loved the song. It made me feel sexy when maybe I didn't necessarily look at myself as sexy at all. And then to play around and pick out a guy from the audience, like that was so fun to not have to just be doing choreography and dancing and, clapping along, like for us to actually look for people in the audience and talk on stage to each other. And it was a really cool part of the show that I really loved every night. And I was like, this is so different for me, and, super cool. I loved the hats. I loved the boy look about it and at the beginning. And I still do that choreography, actually.
Oh, good. Awesome, because we all love it still to this day. And you have to tell us, I guess, for someone who's listening right now, what was some of the criteria for you to pick someone out of the audience? Because I'm sure there was a lot of people that wanted to be picked. I know you actually one night, you guys picked my friend because we were right up front, and he almost passed out of like ecstasy. But did you guys have criteria? God. Like how did that go on stage?
It's awesome. Well, we would look for, first of all, we would look for somebody that was totally into the show. We weren't just looking during that song when we were pretending to look. We would start looking at the very start of the show, and then in between songs, if Janet was getting quick changed or whatever, we'd be like, oh, check out the guy and da-da-da-da, or, he's totally into the show. So it was more somebody that wasn't trying to act cool and, like, really think that he was going to get picked.
Yeah.
It was more so somebody that was a fan, that loved her, that would know the lyrics and just freak out to be that close to her. Whether he was gay, straight, whatever, it didn't matter. It was just somebody that was all about her and her music and would give some pretty funny reactions to when they actually did get pulled up. Like, your friend probably got pulled up and it was probably funny.
Oh, yeah.
It was funny to people to watch, right?
Yeah. And he loved that. He loved, by the way, and I think
it's more fun to watch somebody just like completely out of their comfort zone and like in shock and in pure joy than a cool guy just trying to like be cool.
And I have to tell you, I can probably thank you on his behalf in the fact that when he got the Polaroid at the end, like he was so happy to get that. So I don't know whose idea, if it was Renee's or Janet's or one of the team, like to know to do that. But like that was such a classy move on their part, so all these guys had this memento for years. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, it was so awesome. And then didn't they, what was funny is when they got taken off the stage, that was even funny for us to watch because we would watch the aftermath of, being separated from her and just like, they're just like in a daze, like they don't even know what just happened. Like that's pretty awesome, to be in the presence of somebody that is going through that. So we never ever took that for granted. I always remember, patting them on their back on the way out just to make sure that they're breathing.
Yeah, that was a good move, Kel, because he was
even just for me to glance at them just to remind myself of how loved she is. And because sometimes you're on the stage and you're touring, so you're doing so many shows that you start to take it for granted a little bit. But when you see the true joy that she would bring to people and how much of a fans that how much they love her, it was really special. I think that was a really cool part of the show.
Do you think she knows, Kel, like, because I know when you guys are in it, you're in a bubble and all that stuff. And then obviously with her, like she's, been in this bubble in a way since she was a baby because she was born into the Jacksons. But do you think that she, like, because it's so funny, like you and I sort of talked a little bit before we started recording, but, now she's on the State of the World tour. And I've just seen some pictures, on the Facebook groups and what have you. And, it's funny because I haven't seen her in a while, right? Because she was obviously off having the baby and sort of away from social media.
Yeah.
And just seeing her makes me happy. Like just seeing her smile makes me happy. So does she know that she has that effect? And I guess it might be overwhelming for her a little bit. Maybe not now because she's used to it, but I'm sure there was a lot of pressure on her knowing that she brings so much joy to everyone.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too because I have to think of I'm in a different stage in my life. She's obviously in a different stage in her life, and a lot has gone on this past little while with her. But ultimately, I think she keeps getting drawn back to doing what she was meant to do, being on stage, sharing her love and joy. And I'm pretty sure she must know because she also gets it from her fans. She also feels it and it picks her up. We all do things in life that make us feel good. And I don't think she would continue doing this kind of stuff if it didn't truly make her happy, and she wants to share it with her fans and people. And and I even just right before her tour started, the State of the World tour, I just reached out to her and I said, just go have fun and spread love like you want to, and because the world needs it. People need it, and I know that that's what she wanted to do. She just wanted to spread love and joy. And the last time I saw her, she did seem very happy, and she was funny and laughing, and seeing her with Issa was just like so joyous. And so yeah, I think she understands it. I really do. I think she not only understands that she brings it to them, to you guys, and to everybody that watches her, but I also think she has now a better understanding that she also needs it herself, as we all do.
And by the way, when you do talk to her next, I think I can say this on behalf of the fans. It was such a classy move for her to head out to the Houston shelter and meet with victims, and because again, just those pictures, like she was bringing joy to people that are obviously in a terrible situation, and that made me so proud of her. If I can say that, so I'm sure the fans felt the same way too.
Oh, for sure. I was so happy that she didn't cancel or she just pushed through it, because I was probably like, oh my gosh, what do you do? The world is up in, people are going through it. It's like, yeah, no, she did the right thing, and because she's got a big heart, she really does, and sometimes she doesn't quite get to show it, or maybe she's not in the city to make that happen, but she happened to be there, and so for her, I don't think she would have not done that. I really don't. She's too loving and caring to not do that. So I will definitely, when I talk to her next or when I see her in Vancouver, just say that was so cool and how appreciated that was. And, I'm sure it picked them up and made them smile at least.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted to bring this up just because we're sort of on the topic of difficult times. If I bring it back to Velvet Rope, the sad part of the situation is that we lost Michael Andrews earlier this year, who obviously was a huge part of the team.
I know.
And I did want to, I know it was hard. It's actually, when I was interviewing Rob, it was hard for him, I know, to speak about it because I know he's tight with Mike. And I just wanted to get your sense what it was like to dance with Michael. And I guess, what are your thoughts on the fact that, I think he would have actually been so excited for the 20th anniversary of Velvet Rope because he and I had kind of talked, he'd been on my show before, and he just had such love for all of you that were a part of the Velvet Rope team. I know he was so proud to have been a part of that group.
Yeah, I'm, Michael, when I think back, I'm smiling right now because as soon as you mentioned his name, I just smile because, he really was the sweetest guy. He meant no harm to anybody. He was just happy to be there. He was so funky. I loved watching him. I used to go, wow, this guy, I think he was a little underrated at first. But my memories of Mike, and I can't, it's hard to, I don't, it's shocking still to me to even have to say my memories of Mike, but I'm so sad that I never got to see him, prior to him moving on. I really wish that every once in a while we would reach out to each other on social media, or if we saw each other on Facebook, or, I'd go, hey, Mike, and, we would touch base like that, sort of just the way Rob and I do. I don't see Rob very often, but we still reach out to each other, and I wish I just could have seen Mike again and, given him a big old hug, because he truly was he was a light, and he was happy, and he just had a big heart, and he was a hard worker, and I'm so glad that I got to experience Velvet. Yeah, and I think he really would have been all about this 20th anniversary, because it was a big job for him, and it was a big job for all of us, and we will always have a special place in our heart for the Velvet Rope. And I'm just so happy that people like you are keeping the memory of the magic that we created, together as a team and as a family alive. And I thank you so much, because it brings back so many awesome memories for myself. And yeah, I just wish, I know he's up there dancing and looking down at us, and yeah, that's all I have to say about Mike. But I will miss him very much, and such a shame.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I know it's obviously, it's hard to sort of even want to ask each of you about it, but I can't imagine not asking you, because on this 20th anniversary, he's missed
sure.
and stuff. So
we need to talk about him. I think it's really important. He was a big part of everybody that was a part of the Velvet Rope, from crew to the band to Jan to, everybody. We all shared something, including you guys, including everybody that was there cheering us on, making us feel so special and loved. I think it was just something that needs to be, recognized, that this happened, and this, changed a lot of lives, and including mine, including his, including all of ours. And I'm just so happy that we're talking about it, because I'm going to go put the album on today.
Great. And I did want to, ask you as well, for so many of Janet fans, like, the Velvet Rope album is super sacred, whether it's because some of the topics on the album encourage people to maybe come out to their families, or maybe they also had someone that they lost HIV. There's so many different reasons that album inspires people. What message do you want to pass on to the fans who've been so supportive of Janet and of you guys for the last 20 years?
I think it's just, how grateful. I mean, maybe when we were in it at the time 20 years ago, we were at a different stage in our life, and we didn't fully grasp how important her fans are. But I think I had a good sense of that, and I always really respected everybody, and I really loved the fans, and they made me feel good, of course. And, but now that I look at it from being older and look back at it, like, who would we all be if we didn't have you guys? Who would Janet be if she didn't have people that loved her music and listened to it and were touched by it, and how brave you guys were to allow yourselves to, be vulnerable and maybe come out to your family, or maybe, whatever people were dealing with. Like, it's a really cool thing to allow yourself to allow music to touch you in that way. And I just applaud everybody for being so brave and coming along the journey with us. I think it's really cool. And Janet fans are Janet fans for life. Like, you guys love her unconditionally and have her back no matter what, just the way that I do. It doesn't matter, we all have her back because she has evoked that within us. So I am a fan just as much as you are, and we are all part of this collective thing that went on, and I think it's super cool, and I think we'll always be connected that way. And I thank everybody for making me feel so special and me so loved, and I still even can't even. I'm grateful that somebody even wants to interview me to this day about it. That's really cool to me, and so I just hope everybody's awesome, and just know that I love everybody, and I love seeing you guys on social media when I do. I'm not very active on it, but when I am, I do reach out. There's a few people that show up on my feeds that I know as from those days, and I will reach out to them and say, hey, or, give them a like or something. So it's really cool. And I just love and miss everybody.
Do you think that, because I know she's obviously got a lot going on with the current tour that's going on, but do you think that she will sort of be cognizant of the 20th anniversary, and what do you think it means to Janet?
That's a good question. I think she must know that it's the anniversary coming up. I mean, maybe when I see her, I will, reach out to her and remind her of the magic. But I mean, to be honest, she is very sentimental that way, and it's not like she never thinks about it. 'Cause she brings it up to me. She's like, oh, remember when we did this? Or, like, I know that it was just how it was special to us, it was special to her. So I think she's going to be, she's not going to let it go. I'm hoping she says something about it, or tweets about it, or does something, but I think she will. Oh,
that's awesome. And, thank you so much for telling us that she's sort of sentimental about some of these milestones, because, not that I wouldn't think that she wouldn't be, but I guess because we don't often hear from her directly sometimes about her thoughts on these types of things. So
yeah,
I think it's great that because I think it means a lot to the fans knowing that she would be sentimental about 20 years of Velvet Rope, which is just because it was groundbreaking. It changed people's lives. Like, I'm getting emotional because it did. So I think
I know because it changed your life. I know. I totally get it. I really do think I don't think she has just forgotten about it or forgotten how special it is. I don't think you can. And I know she had specifically said to me at times, and she brings up things from that era, and where I know it is really important to her and Jimmy and everybody that was a part of that. And I don't know. I just think it's too big and too special and too important for her not to. There's no way. There's just no way. So I'm just so thankful that, you're reminding us all about it and how special it was. And let's hope that she feels it as well. I'll make sure I reach out to her and go, hey, oh my God, it's been 20 years.
That would be awesome. And before I let you go, Kel, I did want to ask, because again, there's so many of us that are huge fans of yours, just flat out, Kelly Konno fans. Okay, where can we see you? What's going on? And how's Triple Threat going?
Oh, it's going awesome. Triple Threat is still going strong. We're still spreading the love of dance. I've shifted more my focus to acting, and I've been doing not bad, actually. I had to study the way I studied for dance, so it took me a little while, but now I just shot an episode of Riverdale on the CW. What else have I been doing? I have a recurring role on a show called Somewhere Between with Paula Patton. So yeah, things are starting to happen. Hopefully I'll have a series regular one of these days that shoots in Vancouver and LA, so I can have my foot in both places. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm focusing on, and I hope people catch me on TV every once in a while. I think people do, which is kind of funny. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I just saw you on this as a reporter." Yeah, so I've been playing lots of doctors lately, so it's kind of fun playing somebody smarter than you really are.
Well, I think that's awesome, and anytime you want to come promote something on my show, you are more than welcome. Just so you're aware.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and just please pass my love on to the fans. You guys, I love you. I miss you guys so much. Don't give up on Janet. She's still doing awesome, and we're all rooting for her. And I cannot wait to see her on the State of the World tour.
Perfect.
And I'll try to get her to tweet more often.
Okay, good. You get on that, please. And on behalf of the fans, I can never thank you enough. I'm not going to cry again, but I want to thank you. I know so many of us were touched so much, and you and all the other dancers and the crew members and the band members, you helped make Janet and help Janet make that experience just so amazing for all of us. And I saw the concert 4 times, and I'd still go see it again if all of you guys are still back doing it. So thank you, and thank you for being magic, because you guys were magic on stage and in the video. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kelly. You just made my day.
That is dancer and choreographer and teacher and actress Kelly Konno. Make sure to check her out, triplethatdance.com, and her own website, kellykonno.com. Hey, it's Kelly. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching and listening to our interviews. We always appreciate your time. Please make sure to follow us on our YouTube channel, and also hit up our website so that you can subscribe to our newsletter so you are always up to date with everything that we have got going on with the show. KellyAlexanderShow.com/subscribe.